Okay, so hope everybody's doing well. So we are going to recap day 7 of our trip to Israel. And this is a really interesting day. It started out really early. Where are we going?
Garden of Gethsemane.
Tour guide actually set us up to where we could go in early before any of the other hundreds of tour groups got in and have a moment to not only pray in the garden, but also to have our pastor speak just a little bit. And it was pretty emotional in the fact that you're walking literally in the same garden that Christ walked before he was betrayed by one of his own disciples and taken to the cross and crucified for us.
It's very interesting too because they have there's 4 olive trees in the garden that through carbon-14 dating they've actually dated back 2,000 years. So there's some of those trees that were there and praying next to that could have been there when Christ was there, which is just powerful.
Yeah. So from there, we left the garden and we actually went to a museum. This was actually one of the very first museums we had been to on this trip, which I actually like because I'm not a huge museum guy, but it was interesting. One of the first things we did was we saw a scale model of Jerusalem that a guy won like an art prize for, and it was huge. Right behind me is probably one of the coolest things I've seen on this trip. I've seen a lot of awesome things on this trip, but right behind me is a scale model replica of the entire city of Jerusalem. The artists have carved in intricate detail each facet of the city, the East Gate, and the heart of Jerusalem, and the old temple. Then went to see the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is really cool. They had an example of the entire book of Isaiah out on display. They had a ancient Bible from Aleppo there, which was really neat. It was pretty cool. We've both seen the Dead Sea Scrolls on display before when we were in college, and I remember it then. So it wasn't necessarily a brand new site to us, but it was still really cool to go there with the group.
It was cool too because we went and they explained the story of that where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then later in the trip we're going to go see the actual cave where they found it, where the Bedouin shepherds found it. So that was cool.
Then as we were leaving the museum, I look to my right and I see something that just caught my eye, and I thought we were leaving like within 10 minutes. So
he looks at me and he's like, okay, here we go.
I just took off running, and I'm like heaving up these like sets of stairs, and all of a sudden I come across, it looks like the same material that the bean would be made out of in Chicago, but it's like this hourglass looking shape. Whew, I'm out of breath. I ran all the way up here. This thing is awesome. Reminds me of like the bean in Chicago.
So while he's up there and heaving and all that to get this shot, our group congregates and then we all proceed as a nice, calm group to walk up those same flights of stairs and meet him right there, which is where we were going next. So he got his workout in
for
nothing.
As we were coming out of that museum, I saw something really special for Grace, so I took some footage of it. It was basically a tree house. All right, Grace, this one's for you. Right behind me is a tree house that is a playground for little kiddos. That was built, it was super modern looking, but it was made out of plexiglass, but it was built all around like an actual tree. I thought Grace would have loved, kind of seeing that. From there, we went out of Jerusalem up to Bethlehem. Bethlehem sounds cool, place of the birth of our Savior, all that kind of stuff, but nowadays it's actually under Palestinian control. It's mostly inhabited by Arab people and not necessarily the safest for Americans, much less Israelis, to go. But regardless, we went, and it was a lot of fun. For lunch specifically, we ate at a place called The Tent, and it was right outside a shepherd's village. Doesn't get much better than this. We're having lunch in a tent.
What? Wonderful.
we come out of our tent, the shepherd's tent, from lunch, and we see something up there. There's like a small crowd gathering, and Heather and Pastor are off somewhere else, and Andrew has his camera ready, and our tour guide is amazing, but he just happened to find some goats for our pastor's wife to cuddle because she's obsessed with goats. She raised them when she was younger, and so he just found these goats wandering by. So she comes out and Pastor brings her out, and there's these 3 goats. One of them was only 5 days old. So she was in heaven. The Mari girls were in heaven. My husband looked at me. He's like, "Hey, you want your picture with the goats?" And I just looked at him. I was like, "Why would I get my picture with a goat?"
Take it from now.
From there, we proceeded further into Bethlehem, into a place that is known for their olive wood carvings.
We also went to the Church of the Nativity, sang some songs there in a dome around, which, I mean, it's kind of hard to pass up. Singing Silent Night.
Silent Night in the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem.
On the Shepherd's Field.
I will never sing Silent Night the same way ever again, because
that was great, because you see our tour guide, like, it's a public place, you know, there's tons of people visiting. He just closes the doors, you know, like this is closed private session, so it's awesome. Then
we went to the wood shop, which there was basically 2 famous carvers that carve out of olive wood, and they carve so amazing, intricate designs of like the Last Supper, the nativity scene, and they actually awarded our pastor with like a gift of Joshua and Caleb carrying huge grapes out of the land of Canaan, out of the promised land. But did we buy much there? We didn't.
We were thinking about it, but we aren't very good hagglers.
Most
we
of
got
the
a few little things, but
most of the stuff in Israel is priced as shekels because that's the currency over here. However, there it's mainly geared for tourists, so everything was priced in American dollars.
So and I found this necklace and ring. I thought it'd be cool
because so
they're
beautiful.
Like, it's a Christian shop. Support them. Still living in Bethlehem. It's high quality. It's great. I'm like, it'd be great to get like a little ring or a necklace or get something for Rachel for watching her girls this long. And I look at the price and I was like, oh, it's 3,000 shekels. And they're like, no, all prices are in dollars. And they're like, well, you have a 15% discount, and then you can barter. And I'm like, yeah, 15% and bartering off $3,000 is not my price range. They had a nativity scene. I mean, amazing, huge. It was $25,000.
But then we were done with Bethlehem. We were done shopping for the day. So we went back into Jerusalem, and it was actually the start of what they call Shabbat, which is the Sabbath. So it starts at sundown on Friday and ends at sundown on Saturday. And you talk about an electrifying crowd of people. You know, we've been to concerts before in lots of public places. We live in a very crowded city, and we've been to like downtown Manhattan and that kind of stuff. But the kind of energy in that crowd was so amazing because unlike a concert where you're going to go see an entertainer, the electricity came from the crowd and the community that was there. And you had people praying in like traditional, you know, Jewish garb. They had a men's entrance to the area, and they had a women's entrance to them. It's very segregated. Yeah, we had to put on a yarmulke, which was really cool. But it was just really special to be down in the main heart of Jerusalem by the Western Wall on Sabbath. It was an amazing experience.
Came back, ate dinner, went to bed.
So we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be another great day, and more to come. Bye.